scare tonight, this one back here in the U.S. The passenger jet off a runway in Florida right into the water. Much of the plane submerged in the river, and tonight the new video here of passengers escaping onto the wing of the plane right in the middle of a storm. And this question now, why did the pilot switch runways at the last minute? ABC's Victor Akenda was on the scene in Jacksonville.
Tonight, we're learning more about what led to these harrowing moments on the wing of that jetliner.
It was the loudest bang I've ever heard in my life.
Baby coming through, baby coming through.
Darwin Silva shot the video after he opened the emergency door.
We got the women and children first onto the raft, and then the firefighter pulled the raft to shore.
The Defense Department chartered the Boeing 737 coming from Guantanamo Bay. It slid off the Naval Air Station runway in Jacksonville Friday night and into the water. There were storms in the area, and the NTSB is investigating why the pilots changed runways, switching their landing direction at the last minute. That change in direction put the wind at their backs, the plane landing at a higher speed than if it was landing into the wind at more than 200 miles an hour.
Only the pilots make the final decision about which runway to use, but one of the key questions is, what did they know? What information did they have that led them to accept a tailwind runway?
The cockpit voice recorder is a critical piece of evidence. It's located in the tail of the plane, still submerged tonight. They can't get to it until all the fuel is removed from the plane. Contractors have been working on that all day. Then the plane can be removed from the water safely. David?
We can, of course, see that plane there behind you. Victor Akenda with us again tonight. Thank you, Victor. And next this Monday night, the chaotic scene right here in New York City today. The crush of cameras as President Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen left his apartment and then headed to federal prison. He emerged from his Park Avenue apartment building and then right into that chaotic scene, getting into his car for that ride to prison. But he delivered a vow right before he got into that car. And here's ABC's chief national affairs correspondent Tom Yamas tonight.
Tonight, Michael Cohen is looking through a much different set of bars, emerging from the gold-gilded doors at his Trump Park Avenue apartment building and taking one last shot at the president.
I hope that when I rejoin my family and friends, that the country will be in a place without xenophobia, injustice, and lies at the helm of our country.
Michael, anyone in your family?
Pushing through a crush of cameras.
Where's mine right now?
Michael, should people feel sorry for you?
Cohen stayed silent, even as a photographer stuck his lens into his waiting SUV. Over the weekend, he was all smiles, stopping for handshakes, posing for photos. But tonight, Cohen is an inmate at New York's Otisville Federal Correctional Institution, where he'll spend the next 3 years. That's 1,095 days in the minimum security prison, housing other notorious celebrities like Mike the Situation Sorrentino from the Jersey Shore TV show and the Fyre Festival creator Billy McFarland. Cohen has pleaded guilty to a number of crimes, including arranging illegal hush money payments to women who claim to have had affairs with Donald Trump. The president denied it all, but Cohen insists he was just following the boss's orders.
There still remains much to be told, and I look forward to the day that I can share the truth.
All right, Tom Yamas with us live here in New York tonight. And Tom, Michael Cohen spent hours, as we know, cooperating with the special counsel Robert Mueller. Cohen then spent hours testifying on the Hill in front of the American people. Now Congress wants to hear from Robert Mueller himself on the Hill, but President Trump tonight has changed his mind about this?
That's right, David. At first, President Trump said the decision would be up to Attorney General William Barr, but then the president tweeted this: Bob Mueller should not testify, no redo for the Dems. Now, Barr told Congress he had no problem with Mueller testifying, and tonight a source familiar with the Attorney General's thinking tells ABC News he has not changed his mind. David?
All right, Tom Yamas, great to have you. Next tonight to what the U.S. calls a show of force against Iran, rushing the USS Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and Air Force bombers to the Middle East tonight. It comes after what the White House is calling, quote, troubling warnings that Iran or its allies were preparing for a possible attack on U.S. forces. Here's Martha Raddatz.
At this hour, more than 6,000 Navy personnel are steaming towards the Mideast. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group bristling with firepower. An American bomber task force also deployed. It was U.S. Central Command responsible for the region, which urgently requested the additional forces. A U.S. official saying intelligence indicated possible attacks being planned by Iran or its proxy forces, possibly in Iraq or Syria, or U.S. ships at sea.
We're taking all the appropriate actions, both from a security perspective and well as our ability to make sure that the president has a wide range of options.
The State Department recently designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization. Iran responded by labeling CENTCOM a terrorist military organization as well.
Martha Raddatz with us live tonight. And Martha, officials say they have clear indications that Iran was preparing for a possible attack, as I mentioned, on U.S. forces in the region. Do we know anything more tonight about these threats?
David, there have been no specifics, but this show of force certainly sends a strong warning to Iran that if they do attack, they will face what the White House is calling an unrelenting response. David.
Martha Raddatz with us here as well. Thank you, Martha. And now to the global headline tonight that was decidedly more upbeat. In fact, a lot of cheer after news broke today of the royal baby. Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan welcoming a baby boy and breaking tradition, handling the announcement, the reveal, in their own way. Announcing the news in an Instagram post first, and then Prince Harry coming outside their home to talk to reporters. He could not contain his excitement, and then revealing when the world will see the baby. Our Amy Robach at Windsor Castle tonight.
A beaming Prince Harry sharing his happy news with the world.
I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy.
Harry was there by Meghan's side.
I'm so incredibly proud of my wife, and as every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for. So I'm just over the moon.
Royal well-wishers celebrating on the streets of Windsor, popping champagne. The traditional easel outside Buckingham Palace announcing the first biracial royal baby, 7th in line to the throne. But the Sussexes choosing to spend a few private days at home, Meghan's mother Doria there with them. No same-day photo ops like we've seen with his royal cousins, and newborn Prince Harry himself in the arms of his late mother, Diana. Harry clearly thrilled to be a dad, something he laughed about back when he and Meghan got engaged.
Children?
Plans? Not currently, no. No, of course, you know, I think, one step at a time.
Yes, we all remember that interview, but how quickly things change. Harry, ever the loving father there today. Amy, he couldn't contain his excitement. Amy Robach's been on Baby Watch for what seems like weeks now. I love how they tested tradition there today, Amy, doing it on their terms. So when will the world see the royal baby?
Well, David, we heard from Prince Harry, and he said that he and Duchess Meghan will introduce their son to the world in 2 days' time. So that would mean that we'll all get to finally meet baby boy Sussex by Wednesday, David.
All right, Amy Robach on the watch. Amy, thank you. Back here at home tonight, and to growing measles, the scare, the CDC out with new numbers tonight. 764 confirmed cases this year, 60 more than a week ago. Cases now seen in 23 states. Pennsylvania has now been added to the list. We're going to turn next here tonight to a member of our own family, sharing a very personal story about suicide and about loss. Dr. Jenn Ashton, our chief medical correspondent, and her 2 children suffering unexpected heartbreak. And their message tonight to other families in this country: you are not alone.
At about 10:30 in the morning, 3 detectives knocked on the door and showed their badges and came in and asked me to sit down. And the lead detective said, we found your name on the remains of your husband. And at the word remains, I collapsed onto the floor and I just started screaming, no, no, no. I just couldn't believe it.
Dr. Jennifer Ashton and her husband Rob, also a doctor. They met while studying medicine at Columbia. They married the following year and had 2 beautiful children, Alex and Chloe. Both Jen and her husband successful doctors, and both deeply devoted parents.
Through the prairies, to the ocean.
There were the trips as a family, the skating lessons, and the hockey games that would follow.
Yeah!
That's Chloe, number 8, scoring a goal.
Rob was the quintessential hockey dad. He would tie her skates before games.
Their children came first, and over the years they would acknowledge they needed to work on their marriage. They sought counseling, but still, after 2 decades together, they had grown apart. And Jenn, to this day, says any overt warning signs were not there.
Rob didn't have any of the classic signs of depression that we learn about in medical school, not a single one of them.
Rob would take his own life, his family crushed with the heartache that would follow. They sought therapy, and as a family, they have moved forward together, helping each other. Chloe, on something her brother said to her.
It wasn't until 2 weeks later that my brother actually said something that almost simplified the component of suicide. He said, "Dad died from a disease just like cancer. Just like somebody with cancer dies and they're not weaker for it, somebody who loses their battle with depression and dies by suicide is not weak. It's not their fault."
Dr. Ashton, with help now from her growing children, is now determined to help others, hoping to erase the stigma.
We've learned a lot about life and how precious it is, and that you can grieve someone's death but still be happy at the same time.
Dr. Jenn Ashton is with us here tonight. So brave, Jenn. And your children, so brave. What your son said to your daughter, please thank them as well. I know it's been a really hard journey for you, not only as a family to recover from this, but in deciding whether or not to go public. And I know ultimately, just in our conversations, you decided that with that microphone, you had the power to help others because so many families out there deal with this.
Well, my kids, David, actually helped me decide. They wanted me to talk about it. And we really learned that talking about it helped others, but it also helped us. And we've learned so much through this process about post-traumatic growth that follows or can follow a tragedy. And we've been lucky to have a lot of therapy, and that will definitely continue.
And we want to let everyone at home know that we're going to stay on this with Dr. Jenn because our veterans in this country, our young people in this country, we're seeing numbers and suicide rates that are really, really troubling.
Yeah, thank you so much, David.
We thank you, Jenn. And Dr. Ashton's new book, Life After Suicide, Finding Courage, Comfort, and Community After Unthinkable Loss, is out tomorrow. And it's so important really to remind everyone at home that there is help out there. The Suicide Prevention Lifeline on the bottom of your screen there, 1-800-273-8255. There are always counselors on hand to help. And we should mention that the proceeds from Jenn's book will go to suicide prevention organizations all over the country in Rob's honor. There is still. We turn next tonight to the veteran police officer, a husband and stepfather who was shot and killed right outside the police station. ABC's Steve Osunsami with the images from Mississippi tonight.
Police in Mississippi are determined to find this man, seen here on surveillance video wearing this red hat, who police say murdered one of their own in cold blood right outside police headquarters in Biloxi. Officer Robert McKeithen was a 24-year veteran of the force. He died in the emergency room down the street from the police station. Investigators say the man accused of killing him walked up to him in the police parking lot Sunday night and fired multiple rounds.
The animal that did this is still on the run, and we're going to do everything within our power to bring him to justice.
Police aren't sure if this was a random or targeted attack, but do say the accused gunman is seen here boldly walking into the police station for a few moments. The officer who was murdered served in the Air Force and was awarded a Medal of Valor for helping save the lives of 4 children during Hurricane Katrina. Because Biloxi police are so close to this, the neighboring Gulfport Police Department is handling the investigation. David?
All right, Steve. To the index of other news tonight, the deadly crash of a private jet that took off from Las Vegas. Authorities say the plane went down in northern Mexico, killing at least 13 passengers and crew. There were no survivors and no Americans on board. Tiger Woods has been honored tonight at the White House. Just moments ago, President Trump presenting Tiger with the Presidential Medal of Freedom after winning his 5th Masters last month. And tonight, the executive producers of Game of Thrones are saying we're sorry for that Starbucks. Fans noticing something off about this particular scene. Someone left a Starbucks cup in plain sight. Finally tonight, the big wait continues. The royal baby needs a name, but there was a hint from Prince Harry today, so let's get right back to Amy Robach at Windsor Castle tonight. Amy?
Yes, David. Harry did acknowledge today that baby Sussex was a little overdue, perhaps giving the royal couple some extra time to pick out baby names. Bookmakers here in the UK have 3 favorites, Arthur, Albert, and Philip. Philip, of course, being a nod to Prince Harry's grandfather, Prince Philip, and the long shot that some people are talking about, Spencer. Of course, that was Diana's maiden name, and that would certainly be a touching tribute. Royal watchers believe that perhaps we will get a name at the same time we get those first photos of baby boy Sussex, so it could be in just 2 days, David.
All right, well, we'll see. They've been breaking with tradition already, so you never know. Amy Robach, our thanks to you for the baby wait so many days there at Windsor Castle. Thank you at home for watching, starting out the week with us here. I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.